Yo, everybody. It is your friendly neighborhood physical therapist, Dr. Ryan Walton, coming to you live from just outside of the beautiful Tampa Bay area. It's actually really nice out. I just took a walk. Um, if you are new to following me, I am a physical therapist. I got a chronic pain clinic. I call it the I've failed everything clinic. That's what I refer to it as, because so many people come in here and tell me that I've failed everything, right? And I've learned to get exceptional results in that patient population. I have published statistically historic papers in readership that continue to go viral every year, multiple times, even readership of the biggest journals in the world years after publication. That can be found on my website, weltonmethods.com. Now, join that group. I linked it right here. It's my free school group, okay, where I teach much more in-depth teachings, clinical teachings for rehab professionals only, clinical teachings, as well as cash-based clinic teachings, okay? So I share with people how I get the exceptional results that I do in this, what I call I've failed everything clinic. And then also I share how I developed an extraordinarily successful cash-based clinic model based off of these chronic pain conditions I see all day long. One therapist, 7-figure model. You can add more to it. And I'm enrolling people now. I've been going around for a while teaching people how to open and run one of these things, and how I treat these things. That's the thing that's missing in our industry. Our industry is just how to charge more. Everybody's basically fighting over these same, like, tennis elbow, all this stuff. Conditions. From a human standpoint, what I see in here is nothing short of a tragedy. Every single freaking week, and I'm going to tell you about one today, but every single freaking week, I see nothing short of a human tragedy of these people that gave up going to doctors. What I do is, but I don't have competition. Everybody's like fighting over the same patient population. My patients gave up going to doctors, but I don't have competition. I actually refer out to other physical therapists, simple cases, and I take the complex ones, okay? And the reason why I don't have competition is because my patients won't go to other people anymore. They hurt them, or they just gave up and they just resigned to live in chronic pain. So it's from a business standpoint, a business person would say that's basically an untapped market. From a human standpoint, it is the greatest tragedy I've ever seen in my life. So these people that I'm teaching how to open and run these clinics, or the clinical mentorship part of it, where they can get these people in there. I mean, you're not just changing lives, you're saving lives. And these people will tell you, they tell me in here, like, I'm at my wit's end, man. I don't want to live anymore from this. I'm in so much pain. Nobody knows what's wrong with me, type thing. And, I get exceptional results in that patient population. So sign up to my free school group right here. It's a link below. If it's not linked below, go to weltonmethods.com, go to courses, become a VIP member, and it'll take you over to my school group where I'm teaching more and more and more. Okay. So today I am talking about, what am I talking about? The patient that just signed up with me today. Guy barely could get out of his chair. I actually said to the guy, well, I would ask how you're doing, but it's a stupid question because you can't walk. So the guy literally is like this, trying to get back to this room right here where I do my evaluation. And so he sits down, I read through his chart, and I'm like, I had a pretty good idea what was wrong with him just based off of, the I've failed everything story, And anyways, he says that I've had pain for 50 years, half century, 50 years. I have had low back pain. They did multiple epidural steroid injections, ablations, numerous ablations, even had a spinal cord stimulator implanted into him. Um, and he had back pain. He had back pain that was all across his back here, especially down in here, okay, at the base of the spine. And so I'm thinking in my head, this has to be a mechanical issue. Mechanical issues are mechanical. They don't generally show up on x-rays and MRIs, which is why I see them in here in my, and they say I've failed everything, similar story to this, right? And, we're the ones that evaluate mechanical issues. Like everybody wants to say, I have a doctorate degree, I'm a biomechanical expert in physical therapy or whatever. Like, are you? Because you should see the craziness I see in here on a weekly basis. And they all see physical therapist type stories and chiropractors. And, like we're the ones that are supposed to save these people from this, what I see in here, hobble in here, if you want to call it walking. And so, I asked him the basic questions, do you have any bowel or bladder issues? No. Saddle anesthesia? No. I checked his myotones, normal. Just had back pain to the point that he couldn't walk and barely walk. And I'm like, okay, I think I know what's wrong. And I evaluated him. I went like this. I put my thumbs on his PSIS. I said, extend back. Boom. My left thumb translated superiorly, which showed me he had an upslip. I published a historic paper in readership called Root Cause of SI Joint Dysfunction. In there, I proposed, after like freaking 10,000 evaluations, that SI joint dysfunction is caused by an upslip and or outflare of the pelvis, up. So I pulled on his leg, I brought that back down, I laid him on his side, and I went like this, and I was gapping open his out flares on both sides. I find it in the chronic pain world in my patients, it's usually both sides. And then what I did was I checked him for a sacral torsion. Now I published a paper, another historic paper in readership statistically, called Root Cause of Sacral Torsion Shear Anterior Sacral Tilt. I do not, the hardest thing about writing that paper was to try to figure out how they teach this stuff. And it's too complex. So I streamlined it in that paper and gave another diagnostic method that I developed where for the torsion part, all you have to know is where the ILA goes. So I had him bend forward, and when he did, my left thumb translated anteriorly towards his belly button. So that told me that his tailbone was rotated like this. That happens when the left piriformis gets too strong and the right piriformis is too weak. And you can do a 90-90 test and test his piriformis strength and figure that out right then and there. So what I did was I pushed his tailbone back into alignment, his sacrum, pushed on his ILA that way, and I rotated that back into alignment. And when I did, I had him stand up. Number one, he could extend back fully, look like a yoga teacher, and bend forward fully, and walk without a limp. He's like, this is crazy. I have no pain after 50 years. And, he's had all this stuff done to him. And I'm like, yeah, it's a mechanical issue. I'm not gonna see it all day long. So what are you doing here? And anyways, he was out of pain, but then I told him it's not gonna stay that way. We have to stabilize it. So I used my SI protocol and my sacral protocol, and I stabilized it back into alignment, which usually takes about 5 to 8 weeks-ish with me, okay? For 9 out of 10 people. There's a few that take longer every year. But anyways, now from a cash-based PT clinic, everyone's fighting over these patients. I'm not fighting over anybody, nor do I do sales tactics. I follow all this stuff now on social media where people are telling you, well, you answer the phone this way, like try to get them to not use their insurance or whatever, like my assistant tells them the exact price, like you know, $400-500 a half hour to see me. That, you know, like she'll tell you it's between this and this, depending on, you know, how many sessions. I usually see people 8 to 10 sessions, something like that. Um, and I don't manipulate people. I don't even do sales techniques. I'm not a good salesperson. I just tell you the truth. I use my clinical skills, the way it should be, to demonstrate to the patient that I actually know what I'm doing. And when you demonstrate to the patient you actually know what you're doing and get them out of pain, then the patient trusts you. No trying to manipulate their brain with sales tactics. Don't do that. So if you are doing that, or you want to do all these cash-based physical therapy programs, I teach you the clinical part. I teach you what I do in here to get the person out of pain, my patient out of pain immediately, and then my patients trust me, you know, because they're like, well, this guy actually knows what he's doing. Not, you know, I talk about what you want to do when we're done and all this stuff. Like, I don't do any of that. Like, here's what it's going to take. It's a lot of work. I warn people. It is not like me selling myself to them. It is me simply telling them this is like a lot of work, you know, 2 to 6 weeks to start noticing a difference, usually stabilize in 5 to 8 weeks. But this is a process. If you're not willing to do it, then you're not the right fit here. You know, I mean, it's totally different, literally the exact opposite of what everyone's teaching. No pushy sales tactics with me. I tell you exactly here's what I did, here's how I got you out of pain, here's what we need to do to stabilize it. That's it. Make your decision from there. And every month, the same amount of people sign up, just about. And the same amount of people, if you can't afford it, I try to get you one of my students. I have a directory on my website. And I'm teaching people how to do that. And people uh, are targeting these people. I show you the marketing, everything, the marketing, everything, how to target these chronic pain patients, bring them in, help them, get them out of pain immediately so they actually know you know what you're doing, no sales tactics. And then, you know, X amount of people say yes, X amount of people say no. And for the people that can't afford it, I try to get them to one of my students. So, because it's important to me that these people get better. So that's that. But I also have my clinical mentorship. If you are not an entrepreneur, if you have imposter syndrome, if you don't have any confidence in the clinic, which I see so much, I can't believe it. If you don't have any confidence in the clinic and you're just praying your patient's going to get better, I have my clinical mentorship where I teach you what I do. The kicker is I do the same protocols with each diagnosis, hence my historic papers and readership that I publish. The reason why they became historic is because people are using them and they're finding them effective, you know? So that's how that works. So anyways, click the link below, the school, join my school group, Rehab Professionals. I'm teaching in there, and then you can also join my mentorships, and I will work with you in live weekly teachings. Plus, you get massive discounts on my courses when you're a VIP member. Okay, 59% off my courses. All right, peace. Love you all.